like fixing all the cameras. Hello, everybody. I know it's been a minute. Your girl's been away for a minute, but welcome to the Weekly Healing Circle. Yeah, your girl's voice has been like recovering for a minute, like fully. I still have like a little bit left to go till it like fully recovers, but basically why I've been away is because my voice has been gone. For those who missed the update video, yeah, my voice has been like gone for like a bit. So it took a minute to like fully hear my voice. So it's been a process of just healing and letting it take its time, because everything happens when it's supposed to happen. But we're gonna do the Weekly Healing Circle. I have a couple of updates. So we are having the Soul Journey ceremony that's happening on the 26th, if I'm not mistaken. The link for tickets will be down below. So we're still doing that. The workbook is still coming out. I will be emailing it to everybody once I finish editing it. So that should be coming up soon. Also, I made a new channel. Fun update. But yeah, I made a new channel. It's called Siren's Library. And that channel is going to be more of like a self-care channel for me, because one of the things that I had to just really focus on while I was not feeling good and while my voice was literally gone was just self-care. So I was doing a lot of self-care, and I just kind of threw myself back into my I read a lot of books. I'm already, I think I'm like at 155 books for the year. So I threw myself back into just like my reading and just my studying and all of the things. And that channel is just going to be for like all of the things that I love. So this is still just going to be like the main channel for like spiritual education, because you guys know that's what I focus on. But my other channel, Siren's Library, is just going to focus on the other things that I love. So it's going to be vlogs, it's going to be travel vlogs, it's going to be like, I'll still have that in this channel if it's spiritual in nature, but if it's not, it's going to go on the other channel. So we'll be talking about books, we'll be talking about TV, we will be talking about things that I just love, just to give myself that outlet that I want to have. So that's why I made that channel. The link to that channel will be in the description. If you're on TikTok, it's in the link in my bio. For those who are going to want to subscribe. I'm really excited about that channel. I can't wait to like grow it and do all of the things and just continue to make posts, and still working on some things that I want to post on there. But I also have videos that been needed to go up in this channel that are going to be finishing editing, so I can post it on this channel as well. So stay tuned. But we're basically going back to our regular routine. So Mondays are going to be weekly healing circles. We will be having the community oracle poll as well as the prayer circle. But every month we're going to have a book coven where we're going to be highlighting a spiritual book of the month that we're going to be focusing on. So there's some of the updates that we're working on. This month, we're also still doing the Akashic Records 5-hour intensive, as well as the 13-octave Lahochi certification, which will be on the 19th, if I'm not mistaken. So for those who are going to want to learn, that's still something that I'm doing this month. So the July is definitely like a catch-up month. Like, your girl is like catching up on all of the things. So those are basically like some of the updates that you guys can expect right now. There's going to be quite a bit of changes. I'm still working on the video for Egypt, the Egypt spiritual retreat. For those who don't know, we are going to Egypt. We're having an Egypt spiritual retreat. It's going to be really powerful. I'm ridiculously excited about it. I already started working on the workbook for that specific retreat, because we're going to be, it's definitely going to be a spiritual intensive. We're going to have an Ankh attunement. We're going to be recalling our power from past lifetimes. We're going to be doing like prayer. We're going to be doing a lot of things. We're going to also do a collective spiritual bath. Like, I'm super excited for that spiritual retreat. It's going to be iconic. And for it to be my first, I'm just really excited about it. There's still space left for the early bird. For those who are going to want to catch the early bird, there's still the discount for the early bird. And there are payment plans available and all of that jazz. So the link for that will also be down in the description. Now, with that being said, we're going to get started for this week. There's a reason why this week's live is called You Sure? because the energies, Mars is in Virgo, and there's definitely a lot going on, especially when it comes to being decisive, and certain shifts that have been like underlining for a while. There's a lot of healing that is being triggered right now. So the question is really like, you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And Venus is about to go retrograde. There will be a video on that as well. We've had quite a bit of retrogrades come in June. So they're still coming. And through September, they're still coming. It's still happening. It's not gonna start alleviating for a bit. So until like the fall. So expect a little chaos. Okay, expect a little chaos. Expect the unexpected is what I would say. Expect some major changes. There's like a lot going on. And there's a lot being triggered right now, especially with the retrogrades. It's a lot being triggered. So let's take a look at the cards because we got to talk about it. So, and this is where the "you sure" is coming up. Okay, this is where the "you sure" is coming up. We're starting off the week with the page. Mind you, the moon is in Taurus right now, right? So there's a little bit of that energy of being like very self-assured of yourself. Like Taurus energy is very like grounding. It's very like, I said what I said. It's very, it is what it is, kind of energy. We're starting off with this Page of Cups moving into the King of Cups. So it's kind of like you think you're exuding like the king energy, but in reality, you are a little bit moving a little bit naive. And this is why the message for this week is, are you sure? Are you positive? Have you checked in spiritually? Have you checked in with your guides? Have you checked in with your ancestors? Have you? Is the question. There's definitely you're approaching the situation in a different way than it needs to be approached by for this week. Especially in the beginning of the week, you might be confident about something and you might get the rug pulled moving into the middle of the week. There's a little bit more chaos going on through the middle of the week. And due to that chaos, we move into the death card. And then we move into the Knight of Swords, which, as you may know, this is the most aggressive knight out of all of the knights in tarot. The Knight of Swords is the most aggressive, and it's also the fastest moving knights in tarot. So it is a very particular knight. The energy is verbal, is very mental as well. This knight moves as fast as you can speak, as fast as you can curse someone out. Okay, it is a very fast moving card. It's very aggressive, and having the Death card and then moving into the Knight of Swords energy is definitely giving lashing out. It is giving, whoa, wait, I had the rug pulled from under me, and now I gotta react. It's giving reactive. It's a reactive energy. Things might be feeling a little bit like frustrating throughout the middle of the week. It might, especially once like the moon moves into Gemini this week, you might feel a little bit like combative or a little bit reactive. You might say stuff that you don't mean. So also be mindful of that energy because it's not like the funnest time. But there's definitely certain things being reacted based on the changes that are happening. Certain things are being shifted. Okay, certain things are being released. Certain things are being transformed. Certain things are being, like, there's an evolution that's happening that is very particular. And it's kind of like, it's really funny that this is happening right before Leo season, because Leo season really highlights the ego, right? Even though we already have some, planets in Leo, but it's just with the way that the ego gets highlighted during Leo season, and is a very self-centered season. It's almost like this checkpoint before you get too confident in something that's actually you shouldn't be confident about. There is this it feels like a realization. It feels like a breakdown of what you thought something was, and seeing something a lot clearer, but then feeling very, very combative about it. Um, moving into, so we already have a lot of water energy, right? It's Cancer season. We already had the card for Scorpio, right? And now we move into the card of Cancer. Fun times. So we have the okay, the Seven of Wands, and we have the Chariot card, which is a card of Cancer. Um, this is the theme of the week. The energy is very like trying to handle everything, trying to almost like control. It's almost like feeling like you're losing control and then having to grasp it somehow, like trying to remain controlled. This week is it kind of, again, it's like the rug is being tugged. It's kind of like, wait, you sure about that? Oh my God, it's like that TikTok sound. It's like, you sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that? This is literally this week. This is literally this week. And then we move into the last three cards of the week, and we have the Three of Swords, the Six of Cups, and the Ten of Wands. So you might discover a truth about a relationship. You might discover, or there might be a separation, and you might completely been blindsided. There might be a death in the family as well this particular week. It definitely feels like something is happening completely out of the blue. Something is catching you off guard, like you did not expect it. It was not. It was just like, it feels very, very unexpected. It doesn't feel like, it doesn't feel like things are right. That's really the key. And then the week ends with basically the Ten of Wands energy, which is very much, this is a card of struggle, so it's not like it's not the fun vibe. Bottom of the deck, we have the Five of Swords with the Magician. Okay, so I will definitely let y'all know this would be a really, really great time to, take a nice spiritual bath. Okay, this is a great time to check in on yourself emotionally. This is a great time to check in on those areas where you really feel like you're really grounded in, but there's other stuff going on. I would definitely recommend reading for some people. Some people, there's some stuff going on behind the scenes that you were not expecting, but like, it's happening. It's happening. And so it's gonna be a reactive week. Cancer season is it's a cardinal season, so it has to deal with like how we react based on circumstances. But the problem is that Cancer rules emotional consciousness. It rules your intuition. So being emotionally triggered during this time where everything is just like happening and then you're just like needing to react, but it's catching you literally completely off guard, can put you in a position where you're feeling very vulnerable. So you want to make sure that you are emotionally supporting yourself. You also want to make sure transformation and change. I'm telling you, something's changing this week. Something's changing this week. Something is changing this week. There's something, listen, where you feel really comfortable is where you're actually the most vulnerable this week. Like, something's changing. Something's happening. It's going to catch you right off the blue. And it could literally be a passing of someone. It could literally be the ending of a relationship. Listen, but it's going to be not the easiest time. It's mind you, I'm not even saying that someone's gonna pass because we literally got the death card. I'm saying someone's gonna pass because of this dynamic. This is like feeling really heartbroken from, and this can be a card of love, but it's also a card of like family. It's also very much a card of like soul recognizing soul, but it's like the way that it's coming up, this combination, it's giving someone it's gonna pass. So for some people it'll manifest differently, but there's too much like scorpionic energy in this reading for it not to be significant. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But the shift that's happening is going to be emotionally triggering, and so you have to really pay attention to, coming back into that peace and tranquility. Really prioritize your self-care this week. This week is definitely a week to prioritize. If you haven't been prioritizing your self-care, this is the week. This is literally the week. We have solitude and anxiety, and this is what I mean by like this energy, this reactive energy. That's the anxiety. That's the anxiety. The shifts that are happening are triggering certain things, and then we have fertility and renewal. Something is being shifted. There's something's happening. Something's being shifted. It's happening now for a reason. It's not gonna feel good at first though. That's the problem. That's the problem. You can't expect it to feel, good right away. But yeah. For Nyla, oh my god, that's the name of my cat. I literally named my cat. I literally named her Nyla. Because my wife was looking at Egyptian Arabic names. And Nyla, first of all, it sounds amazing, but it's also the name for successful in Arabic. So basically I was like, oh, that's perfect. We're naming her Nyla. So every time I'm like yelling at her because she's misbehaving, I'm just basically yelling successful in another language. So it's basically a way of low-key manifesting. You gotta think ahead. I'm still gonna give y'all an introduction to Nyla. She's been appearing in some videos and stuff. She's grown, she's gotten bigger, but expect her little intro soon. And I'm still gonna do the video on, how to train your cats with baths and, all of the things. We're still working on that. Your girl just had had to take like a sick time off. I had to take sick time basically. Wait, hold on. Ooh. Okay, so we have Return to Sacred, and we have we have Return to Sacred, and we have Spirit Contact this week. If you're not working with your ancestors this week, I don't know why you're not leaning on them for this week. It's definitely it's definitely necessary. Resolve conflicts because there's some stuff popping up this week. Bottom of the deck is keep things simple. There's some stuff popping up this week it's not going to be pleasant. It's not going to be nice to deal with. It's going to feel like, like you just got caught off guard, just random, like out of the blue. You get a message, you get a text, something went down, and it's like, what? No. What do we need to know collectively this week? Ooh, determination. Don't be afraid of the rising tide. It would soon recede. And that's kind of the thing about this particular week, is that while things like shit might hit the fan this week, it's gonna clear up. Okay, the energy's not gonna last forever, but it's still it's still happening, right? We have dream, follow your yearning for the deep blue sea. I'm telling y'all, if you're not taking a spiritual bath, if you're not connecting to nature, if you're not spending time outside, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why. Reflect. Peer into the endless ocean and see what peers back. It is a time for reflection. It most definitely is, especially underneath like a water season. Water season, and you're not going to do the work? No. It's definitely, it's a really important time to not neglect your emotions, don't underestimate your own strength when it comes to dealing with certain things, because a lot of the time when things catch you off guard, they throw you in a way where it feels like you're made to be vulnerable, but it's a time where you can really shine through it and really like see your way through it, and you can use your self-care, your self-love practice to get you through it. It's not always like the funnest thing to do, to go right into taking care of yourself, but it is the necessary thing to do. So definitely make sure that you are working, putting in the work on yourself. Dive deep. Dive deep. Do the work. Do the work. If you feel vulnerable, find out why you feel vulnerable. If you feel like something literally it just came at you, you're just like, find out why. What is it that you need to do to not either allow someone to make you feel that way, or what is it that can be done? What are your limitations about what you can and cannot do? Because obviously you can't do everything. That's the other thing. There's certain things that you're not going to be able to do anything about. But how do you process? How do you reflect? How do you heal? How do you move forward? What lessons can you learn? How do you move forward? That is the question. So Amelia Rose, I'm not doing like personal readings today. This is a collective reading for the week. We're going to do that on Wednesday though. I'm back on Wednesday. But this is just a collective messages for the week. Oh, and we have contentment, abundance, and recognition. Because like the card said, even though like the end of the week is feeling really shaky, is the word I'm looking for, we'll still be able to move whatever it is that's being shifted. There's room being made for more. We also have bottom of the deck is free spirit. There's something about, being a little bit more, feeling a little bit lighter, feeling a little bit more liberated, feeling a little bit like you can literally like breathe a little bit, and feeling like you can like move forward, like from whatever it is. Because again, everybody's situation is going to look a little bit differently. Everybody's situation is going to look like a little bit differently, but it is a time to do that deep dive with yourself. But also, when you're doing your self-care, make sure that you're prioritizing your connection to the water. Each season that we navigate and work through, it's like you want to work with the element that season is highlighting. So for this season, it's the element of water. You should be at the beach. You should be taking your spiritual baths. You should be doing all of the things. It's really important for you to make sure that you're working with the element. Make sure you're working with your emotions. Make sure you're checking in on yourself when it comes to your intuition. What is it that your intuition has been telling you that you've been ignoring? Or maybe you've gaslighted yourself within your intuition and told yourself that something is something when it is not. Because that happens. We have earth. We have past life. And we have fire. Now, with the past life card, I'm not really surprised that this is coming up, considering we do have the death card also coming up in the session. For some of you, the deep dive is going to require for you to do some past life work. Past life work is something that a lot of people spiritually ignore for more like a love and light practice, for more, incense and crystals, which crystals are great and incense is amazing. And there are crystals that can help you, when it comes to deep diving within past life work as well. But you can't just ignore the deeper work. A lot of the time, especially people I've found, people who practice like candle magic, for example, they will specifically just focus on doing like candle magic, just focus on doing candle magic, and think that's the only work that you need to do. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. You can light 1,000,000 candles and not heal that past life. You can light 1,000,000 bajillion candles. 1,000,000 candles. And if you don't heal it doing soul work, it's not going to be healed. It doesn't matter. And the reason being because there are certain... Wait, hold on. Let me drink some water. There are certain things that you can only heal in a certain way. Just like if you look at the body, if you look at the body and you look at, medicine, if you look at going to the doctor, if you look at like, when something needs to be done in a particular way, you can't just like use a crystal to do surgery. There are certain things that are going to require for you to have a surgery. And there's some things that are going to require for you to use crystals, or for you to use plant medicine, or for you to, certain things require different things. When it comes to soul work, you have to do past life work. You have to. If you're trying to do soul work and you're like, okay, I'm trying to do my purpose, I'm trying to get on my purpose, I'm trying to look at my soul contract, I'm trying to do ancestral work, which is also tied to your soul work as well. I'm trying to understand why my relationship with someone is the way that it is. I'm trying to understand why my relationship with this person is so intense, why my relationship with this person doesn't work. All of that is soul work. Understanding your soul's experience with other connections, understanding your soul's purpose within your ancestral bloodline, all of that is soul work. You can't light a candle and be like, oh, this is going to heal all of my ancestral trauma. You don't even know what the ancestral trauma is. Did you do the work? Did you do the research? Did you do the soul research? Did you do the ancestral research? When it comes to doing like soul work, one of the key things is that if you don't know something, if you don't understand something, you're not going to be able to heal it. A doctor can't cure you if it doesn't have a diagnosis, it can't apply the medicine because it doesn't know what to give you. Like it literally works logically when you're looking at it from a medical standpoint, through a spiritual standpoint. It's the same thing. You have to diagnose a problem. Certain things take deeper work. Not everything can be healed or fixed with a candle. It's not possible. It's not possible. You can't heal everything with a candle. You can't do everything with a candle. Some things require more work. Some things require sacrifice. This is why initiations are the way they are, and some initiations are more complex and layered than others. Some things require more. They just do. Some things require a deeper access. Some things require you to do the work in a way that it puts you in a more working with your spirit versus working with spiritual tools. And so when it comes to past life work, right, when it comes to past life issues, if you think that you can fix or heal yourself just with lighting candles or even with prayer, because prayer is amazing and prayer is so powerful, but it cannot give you the information that you need unless you're opening the records. Unless it's the prayer to open the records and actually have access to that knowledge so that you can understand. Understanding something and having that click up here where you're like, oh, this is why I've been having this issue. This is why, like, are you kidding me? Understanding that can shift the narrative completely, can bring you not only a lot of inner peace, but then once you heal it, once you understand and then you heal, then you know. Because what does a doctor do? It diagnoses you. It looks for what's wrong. It looks for all of the areas in your body, what you intake, how your levels are, all of those things, to try to pinpoint how it can, go from A to Z. Do I do Akashic Records readings? I do it's on my website, and I also teach the course for the certification for those who want to learn how to read the Akashic Records, which is one of my favorite. Not only is it one of my favorite healing modalities, because this is the other thing about the Akashic Records, it is like a healing session. So there's certain things that are for certain things. Like energy healing, physical body healing is so important, but soul healing is also very important. And you have no idea how amazing your body, your physical body feels when you do soul work, when you heal different past lives, how much weight comes off your shoulders when you're like, damn, I'm not carrying that anymore. I don't have this person connected to me anymore like this. Like, I don't have to have the pain of this like on me anymore. I don't have to repeat this damn lesson with someone else because I finally learned that lesson. You know how good it feels to have that off you? Where even if you're doing energy healing, not all energy healing can help to like disintegrate that. Like only some energy healing can alleviate, but not all of it can be like, okay, you've been literally like, this is not impacting you anymore. You can't say that for everything because certain things take and require a deeper work. It requires deeper work. And so when it comes to past life issues, if something is happening, if shit hits the fan because of a past life issue this week, you are required, and Spirit is saying, dive deeper within yourself. Don't ignore that aspect. Don't think that you can just heal something with a candle. Don't think that you can just heal something with prayer. There's so many things that have been healed with both. I'm not saying it's not possible, but what I'm saying is when it comes to soul work, if you don't understand something, you can't fix it, right? The reason why you light that candle in the first place, why you say, oh my God, you know what? I'm gonna do a candle for this, because you know why you're lighting it. But when it comes to soul work, if you don't know why you're lighting it, if you don't know what you're even healing, if you're like, yeah, I would like to heal from this. What is this? What happened? What is it? What occurred? What happened? If you don't know, how the hell are you going to heal it? It's common sense. But for some reason, everybody thinks you could just like wave like, you know, some incense or a smoke bundle and just, ooh, everything's healed. It's great for shifting energy. It's great for healing. Crystals are amazing for even like helping you see past lives, but to understand them, past life work, super, super important to do that deep dive. And this is another reason why we're getting these two cards. There is things, especially when it comes to soul work, past lives that are like just we have trauma with that are blocking us, that ultimately not only take from our energy, but that ultimately we end up being grounded in a lot of bullshit that we really don't need to be in. And when we stay grounded in like the nonsense, we don't make space for this, which is abundance. We end up having an abundance of that lesson that we're supposed to learn instead of actually being abundant elsewhere. And so it's important for you to understand how being grounded with like past life issues and issues in that way, how it can create a lot of chaos and ultimately how it ends up harming you in the process because you end up just in this repetitive cycle that it's like you're losing it. It's like, oh my God, why does this keep happening? Why do I keep being in the same type of relationship? Why does this keep, why? You're looking for you're trying to diagnose, but you don't know where, like how to get the answer. And that's because that candle's not going to tell you. Tarot's also not going to tell you. Tarot will tell you, hey, deep dive and do some past life work and do that. But it's also not going to tell you the whole lifetime. It's not going to be able to just lay out what occurred in that way. So you have to dive deeper. Dive deeper. Especially if you're trying to do this elevation that's very much not only needed, but it's that you're trying to project. If you're in this space where you're like, no, I feel so like empowered, I feel all of this, but then shit hits the fan and you can't stay in that energy, it's you're more vulnerable than you think you are. And so you have to you have to ultimately put in the work and try to understand why things happen. Now, one of the things I really love about past life work, Akashic Records work, is that when we do, like, for example, when I do the sessions for Akashic Records work, if past lives come up during a session, we do a healing session right, like, before the session ends in order for you to not only recall your power from that lifetime, but for you to update it. It gets updated in the records that you've healed it. So we do the healing that is required for that lifetime. It gets updated in the records that you healed it, but you are also recalling your power from that lifetime. So not only are you releasing weight, but you are also recalling yourself back to you, which is so empowering, which would not have been able to be done with a candle. It's just not possible. It's not possible. It's not. Certain things require a different diagnosis. certain things require a different approach, and it's totally fine. It's absolutely totally fine. But that's part of the soul work that needs to happen at this time. And for some of you, y'all need to do a little bit more soul work. Y'all need to do a little bit more soul work, and dive a little bit deeper with that. Now, one of the things that I will say about the Akashic Records, because I think it's important, is that it's really important for you to have your crown and your third eye open before doing Akashic Records work. Like if you're trying, well, if you're getting a reading from someone else and you don't need to, but if you're trying to learn how to read the Akashic Records, if you don't have those two open, and also if you have bad intentions, you would not be given access up there, even if it's your own records, because the Lords of the Records, who are the librarians of the Akashic Records, are not going to give you access to the library if they know that you have ill intent in using it. So you have to make sure not only that you're energetically ready to be able to be up there, but that you have good intentions in being up there. Like, what was the reason? Why do you want to be up there? For me, I'm a big ass nerd. So libraries are like one of my favorite places in the damn universe. So for me, it's all about knowledge. Like I just want to know. I just want to learn. I want to know. I want to learn. I want to know everything. Tell me. I want to know. Let's do it. I want to know. That's me. So for me, going into the library was really seamless for me. Because I didn't have an intention of harm or an intention of like trying to get information and hurt someone or whatever. Like, who has the time? I'm just trying to be a nerd. I'm just trying to get this knowledge. Like, please. There's stuff to learn. There's stuff to do. I got healing to do. Nobody got the time. It's important to understand the reason why you want to do things. Can the record your living children too? They can. But you also have to understand. So when it comes to the Akashic Records, you can ask things in relation to you. Would I do a reading for someone under 18? No, because I would never. Well, when it comes to any of my readings, it's on my website. Like I'm not reading for anyone under 18, just because they're not at the right age, especially legally. They're just not at the right age, and like they can be easily influenced, and you don't want to like. Even though the Akashic Records is very neutral, it's like we never want to sway or be put in that position. So for me, it's just like that's a big no for me. But you as a parent can ask about in relation to you. So you can't ask like, oh, I want to know my child's past life. No, can't do that. They have to, when they're at the right age, ask about such things. But you can ask in relation to you. Like, oh, have I had any past lives with my child that before that, we need to heal? Is there a reason why they're in my life now? Blah, blah, blah. You can ask that. That's perfectly fine. But you cannot ask for that. You know how they do this thing, like when it comes to society, we always do this thing where like the parent gives consent for certain things where it's like, oh, they can't give consent. Like, for example, there's some states that the parents can get their child married off at the age of like 13 or something like that, which is sick. Within the records, you can't ask for, unless it relates to you directly, it's about you. Like the purpose, the intent of the question is about you. Like, how does this relate to me? You can't ask about anybody else without their consent. So like the celebrity tarot readings and astrology and all that kind of stuff that people do, you can't do that with the Akashic Records. You can't just be like, hey, can I know Britney Spears' past life? It's a no, because that you need their consent and their access. Like the records are very heavy on consent, and it requires like that consent. It's just that's their soul journey. Like what business do you have to know about it unless you are them, right? Or it's in relation to you, like, right? Like, why does this person impact me so much? You can ask about that, but other stuff, wow. Soul healing. Y'all see, I come back and Spirit is already trolling with the soul healing. Literally, the soul healing card. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, the general rule of thumb, you can ask in relation to you, but you can't ask, like, you can't go, in the records and be like, can I know fulano de tals or whatever, what they got going on, what they're doing. Can't ask about that. That's a no. What I do recommend for when it comes to like kids and readings, I recommend a synastry reading, because that's going to give you not only what your relationship with each other is, it's going to give you the lesson that you're teaching them and what they're teaching you. It's going to show you what the issues would be within communication when it comes to love, or when it comes to like any type of issues that you would have together. That I would recommend an astrology reading. I would recommend a synastry reading. That's what I would recommend, specifically, because I feel like you have a better understanding of how to navigate that relationship, how it makes sense. A lot of people just see synastry readings sometimes as like, oh, like a love relationship, like astrology reading, but it's a relationship reading for anyone. Like, it could be your mom, it could be your parent, it could be your child. So I recommend that, because I feel like that makes more sense. Anyway, so we have rest and endings and miracle creation. We have sacred union and soul healing. Listen, as we're getting into, and we're definitely going to be moving into Leo season very soon. And Venus is about to go retrograde. I'm going to make a separate video about Venus going retrograde. But Venus going retrograde in Leo is definitely, it's going to feel a little frustrating, but it's going to force us collectively to put a little bit more work within our own self-care. So it is, I always say the things that you don't learn in Cancer season, it's going to make you not enjoy Leo season. And when I tell you Leo season is the funnest season of the year, but energetically, the way there's 3 different moons in August, the way that it's a lot happening, like towards the end of July, moving into August, it's a lot happening. You have to try your best to enjoy it. But this particular year, Leo season is going to be a little bit all over the place. I'm just going to tell you right now. Especially because Venus is going retrograde in Leo. So there is some restrictions that are going to be felt when it comes to pleasure, because that is what Leo rules when it comes to the houses. Leo rules the house of pleasure, the house of fun. It's definitely makes things a little bit more complicated. I definitely don't recommend folks traveling past mid-August. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Especially because Mercury is going to be going retrograde. It's going to be, just don't do it. Just trust your girl. Don't do it. If you're going to try to travel, do so before mid-August. You've been warned. You've been warned. Do so before mid-August. Try your best to, really harness your energy during this point. Especially as things are being released, there's definitely a buildup of energy that's also coming through. That's one of the keys to understand. It's like, as things are being released, there's a buildup of energy. You might feel inspired. You might feel, and whatever is also being released and shifted is also going to trigger a change. And it could be a union happening, or something that is, it's just coming together. Not me going to see my abuelito in October. I feel like October, Mercury retrograde will be over by then. No, wait, yes. Wait, I'm trying to remember the dates correctly. There's another, so Jupiter's going retrograde in September. Mercury retrograde is going to retrograde in August, if I remember correctly. But there's a planet in October. I can't remember what's happening in October. It's like my brain is full of dates and stuff. But I know October, Mercury should be out of retrograde. If I'm not. Venus is going to be out of retrograde. Is Mercury, or is that in me? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's going to be from mid-August to September, but there's something got happening in October that I cannot recall at this point in time. I'm gonna get back to you. I'm gonna get back to you on that one. But no, this fall is gonna be like, I feel like October is when things kind of start lightening up a bit. The whole entire fall to winter, a lot of the generational planets are coming out of retrograde. So it's gonna be, more, it's gonna start getting lighter, like slowly. I feel like October should be fine. It's September. It's gonna be September and August are gonna be a little bit more of a crazy fest. So you should be fine. You should be a little fine. But Jupiter will still be in retrograde. So as far as traveling, period, traveling during Jupiter retrograde, it's like, expect some, unexpected some things. But for the most part, just as long as the personal planets are not doing too much, you should be fine, honestly. What's currently happening with the Venus retrograde? So I'm gonna make a separate video on Venus retrograde, so we can like do a little bit of a deep dive with Venus retrograde. But Venus being in retrograde in Leo, first of all, Venus loves being in Leo. Venus rules pleasure. Leo loves pleasure. Like, let's just be real. It loves being in Leo. So this retrograde is going to be a little bit restricting. There might be some things that, challenge y'all to reevaluate things that you think, and this is a key word here, you think bring you pleasure, but in reality, it's almost like you've been gaslighting yourself and they're really harmful that you need to release. There also might be some things when it comes to possessiveness, because Leo is a fixed sign. So a lot of the time, even though it's not as stubborn as Taurus is, I love y'all, but it's the truth. Even though Leo is not as stubborn as Taurus, it is pretty stubborn in the sense of like when it loves, it holds on, right? It holds for, it doesn't really want to let go, even if it's toxic. So there could be some toxic relationships and stuff being released. But again, we will do a deep dive on that too. Expect that video coming. Expect it. But yeah, just as long as like for the summertime, August through September, I don't recommend traveling. Those are the 2 months that I'm just like, no, don't do it. Just don't do it. Just trust and believe. It's not a good time. It's not, the vibes are not there. It's gonna feel a little bit like of a drag, a tad bit. Anyway, yeah, that was the weekly healing circle, y'all. That was a lot. And I know we're like closing it a little bit early, but I'm still recovering my voice. As you could tell, like your girl is still recovering my voice. So I'm trying not to like strain it too much so I can like do all of the videos that I need to do for you guys. So stay tuned, all the updates. Don't forget to follow my new channel. So go subscribe. It's not on TikTok though. It's on YouTube. So I made a new YouTube channel. It's called Siren's Library, where it's just gonna literally be all of my nerdy bits. So I'm not gonna make an Instagram for it. I'm not gonna make. It's just gonna be a separate YouTube where I just get to talk about all of the shit that I love. So it's gonna be vlogs. It's gonna be talking about books and stuff. It's just all of the things. So yeah. So make sure you go subscribe. The link for it for those who are on YouTube is down below, and for those who are on TikTok, it's in the link in my bio. Thank you. These are part of my regalia. So these are my turtle earrings, my Taino turtle earrings. That's a petroglyph for turtle, and I just wanted to wear it today because I'm wearing these two, and these are also part of my Taino regalia. And I just needed some extra grounding today to do this live, because basically we back to work, we back to doing the thing. So I wanted to make sure that my ancestors were grounding me, and they did. And now I gotta go eat because the girl needs sustenance. So I gotta go eat. But I love you guys. I will see you. Wait, did the Taino have a connection to Mexico? I'm wondering. So funnily enough, when it comes to, well, one, we're cousins. That's one. Tainos are Arawakan though, so we're not from necessarily the same people. However, we definitely like are people of different tribes that are in nations, tribal nations in what is now Mexico. We definitely would trade with. There was trade routes everywhere. And we would be trading specifically with them. When I went to Mexico, And when I went to one of the sacred sites, I cannot remember what the name was. The tour guide literally said, "This is where like the beach that was there. This is where our canoes would come to trade with them." So it's definitely, you know, we have that connection. Also, one of the things I learned from one of my mutuals who is Nawax is that there's some drums that you guys have. Well, I wouldn't say every tribal nation in Mexico because you guys have more than we do in the island. There's a drum that you guys have that's made out of wood. We literally have the same drum, but we call it something different. It's called the Mayo Wakan. We also use maracas too. I believe you guys use maracas within your tribal communities as well. We use maracas as well. They're very sacred to us, especially when it comes to medicine and sound healing. But yeah, we use maracas too. We use the Mayo Wakan. The drum that's used is basically a wood. It's a cut up piece of the tree. And every part, it's like carved in the inside, so every part of the drum has a different tone, like a different note. It's really, really, really cool. So yeah, and we also similarly, we play a game within, whatchamacalls it? Can't remember the word, it's blanking on me. But there's a game that we play, like my people's play, in the bate. It's called batu. And some people call it bate or batu. It is what it is. But it's like one similar to the ball game that y'all play too. So basically, we basically had tournaments. I'm willing to say that. I know our ancestors were definitely getting down and doing some stuff. Especially because of the trade routes. So yeah, the answer is yes. But yeah, I tried to do research and I found connections. Yeah, we're definitely cousins. 1000%. We're definitely cousins. Even when it comes to some words and stuff like that, like even in the Northern American tribes, like within the United States, there's some tribes that the name for their chief is the word like cacique, which is like a similar, like it's like a different kind of version, like it has an extra like W or something in there. But our word for chief is cacique, and there's like a couple of different tribes that they have a variation of it, but it's like cacique, like it's pronounced slightly differently, but it's literally like the same word. So yeah, we've been cousins, like the whole entire Turtle Island. We've just cousins. We've been cousins. We always gonna be cousins. But the fact that Cuba and Mexico are so close, we used to just take the kind of us up in there. So yeah, we've been cousins, and I love y'all so much. Listen. So yeah, and this is why we have like a lot of similar like vegetables and food. Like if I didn't have Mexican, because I can barely find Dominican like guavas everywhere. If I didn't have Mexican guavas and Mexican like aguacates, like I would lose my shit, because we literally have a lot of the same similar foods too. And I believe we also both barbecued. Even though it's introduced, like it's an Arawakan word, but I believe there's also barbecue pits in some tribal communities in Mexico. So yeah, knowledge. I usually don't like teach Taino stuff, but knowledge for those who want it. Because Atabe came to me before and I had to do research and I felt like there was a connection via the water. But yeah, Atabe is connected to the river, but she has she's also, but it's complicated. It's complicated, and this is why I don't teach Taino spirituality, because it's just complicated. But she has different, let's just say different forms. She has different forms. Let's just say that. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go do a couple videos for you guys that I need to film for this week. And then I will see y'all then. Do not forget to subscribe to the new channel though. I would love to see y'all there. And yeah, I will see y'all in the next video. I love you guys so much. We back. We officially back. Y'all have a good night.